I'm going to show you how to make Thanksgiving menu designs just like these that you can print out and use at home, or you can sell as a template like you see here on Etsy. These are super popular, especially during the Thanksgiving season, of course. And as it's coming up, you might want to spice things up in the house by having a little menu design, or perhaps you want to make a couple extra sales on Etsy by providing a design template that can be easily edited in Kittl. And if you don't have Kittl yet, go ahead and sign up using the link down in the description so that you can follow along with this tutorial. Let's get started. All right, here in Kittl, we are going to click on a new project, and then right here in the settings, we're going to change this to inches, and then we're going to go 4:9, so that way we can get our information and our vertical card. So now we have our vertical layout, our portrait layout for our menu, and we're going to go over here and we're going to type in Thanksgiving in the Elements panel. And now we have a ton of brand new illustrations we actually just recently uploaded. We have two kinds. We have vintage style, kind of nouveau, and we also have the kind of cartoony vector style Thanksgiving designs like you see here. Now I'm going to go for a more elegant style design, so I'm going to choose this kind of October fall looking design of the pumpkins here with a pie that is in front of it, and then below it is where we are going to put our text information. So we're going to only work with one illustration. Again, we don't have a ton of room on a smaller vertical card like this, but I'm going to go over here to the stains and brush marks panel over in the elements panel, and I'm going to find one that kind of complements the brush watercolor looking design of this illustration. So this one's going to work quite nice, and it goes along with the kind of bottom shadowy looking style that's underneath this illustration. I'm going to right click and send that to the back. And then for my color, I am going to go over here, click on the object color, and then I can zoom in and I can use the eyedropper tool to grab a color from the illustration. So what I'm going to do is grab this green right here so that it's cohesive with the illustration. Now I think this is a little bit too intense of a color that kind of conflicts with what's most important. So all I'm going to do is go over here to the opacity and turn it down. So if I type in 20% and hit enter, you can see there it takes away some of the color, and you can work with that to get one that you like. And I've basically created a new color from that original color. So now you can add type, by the way, with the T button. You can just simply hit T. And then for this elegant style menu, I'm going to use one of these scripts here. You can go over to the script style because I want a handwritten approach to this menu design. Okay, so I'm going to add the angle transformation, and then I want this to kind of just be subtle in the background. It doesn't really need to be all that and in your face because it's pretty obvious that looking at this is going to be a menu. So I'm going to bring the illustration to the front, and there you see that menu kind of blends into the background. I made it the same color as the background, which generally is a white piece of paper most people will have at home with their printer. And so it's just nice and subtle. It's obvious, it's a menu, but we still have that kind of handwritten feel there in the back. So I'm going to add some more text, which you can do by hitting the T button, or you can hit add text there, add headline. And for this, I am going to go with a sans serif geometric font. I'm going to go with outfit, something that's easy to read. And I'm just going to be working with two font sizes. We're going to be working with 12 and 9 point. I wouldn't advise going down past 9 because on paper it gets pretty small and hard to read. So for the title of my category, we're going to go all caps. And for this, we're going to put starters here. And then all I have to do is hold the Alt or Option key and drag, which will duplicate that text. I will make it not all caps. I'll make it regular case. I'm going to make this 9 points, as I mentioned before. And then what I can do here in this text box is just copy in what I already know is going to be my starter dishes. So I've just already wrote them down somewhere else. So boom, I just pasted them in. And there we go. Now we have our content that goes underneath starters. Now what we're going to do is work on our color. So again, we are going to use the color dropper tool to grab one of these darker colors from the pumpkin illustration right here. So if I grab the eyedropper tool and then I just hover and click over the pumpkin, you can see it takes that darker brown, that darker red. And then for the starter category, I can just make it this kind of olive green. So the category or the title will make it that green color. Okay. And so now we have kind of a starting basis for the rest of our menu design. So all I have to do is select the category and I can select the content underneath it. And then I can just hold the Alt or Option key and drag it, which will duplicate that text. And then I can just repeat this process, going over, selecting my written copy, and then all I have to do is go over here, delete this copy, and then just paste in what it is. And then I'll just speed up through this process. So you can see here I've got starters, main course, and dessert. Now, what I'm doing is adding some line height because it was creating kind of like really small, dark blocks with this text all close together. So I'm increasing the line spacing so that it's a little bit easier to read and it fills up a little bit more space on the paper so we don't have so much white space there at the bottom or the top or in the middle. Then what I can do is I've grouped all of these with Command or Control G. And then what I can do is I can go over into the tidy tool to make sure the spacing is all equal. So we want the same amount of spacing at the top and the bottom. So now that I've selected all of these, I can hit tidy and you can see that it just slightly adjusts the type. So starters and the starter information is a group. So then I can select all of them and hit that tidy button. Hey, real quick, if you're getting value out of this menu design tutorial, let me know by hitting that thumbs up button and the red subscribe button so you don't miss any upcoming videos. And then let me know down in the comments, what are you planning to do? Are you planning to print this out to use for when family is coming, or perhaps you want to sell it as a template on Etsy? I'd love to know how you're going to utilize the design. So comment down below and let's get back to the tutorial. All right, so let's move on to our next design, which is going to be mainly about the type. We want the type to shine through, so we don't need all of this big illustration and script font style here, because what we're going to do, we're going to make the type stand out a little bit more. So I'll go over here to this font over here, and what we're going to do is use Spectral. I want it to be kind of like a classic serif font that's just a little bit more classy. Just adds a little bit more spice there to the table. And instead of using multiple colors, we're just going to make this all one color. I love this darker red, this really deep maroon color. And so then I'm going to increase the line spacing even more so that it takes up just a little bit more room on this page. And again, it just creates a little bit more hierarchy here in what's ever going to be at the top, which we haven't decided yet, and then the rest of the text. So then I can make sure that all of these are spaced out equally. And then what I can do is grab all of them, again, hit the tidy tool, and then boom, it just slightly adjusts the text spacing. Let's go back over to the elements and type in Thanksgiving. And what we're going to do is, instead of the giant illustrations, I'm going to grab this wreath here, this kind of floral fall wreath, and I'm just going to position them in the corners as just a little bit of interest, just a little bit of decorative leaf elements coming out of the side, reminiscent of maybe a card or something like that. So let's position this to where it goes. By the way, if you hit the W button, that is the trim view, which means it will only show you what's on the artboard. So I just duplicated this. Again, you can hold Alt-Option key and drag. And so I've taken the wreath and put it in the bottom left and the top right. So now we have balance going on in our design. And then we've left space up here in the top left to put our information, basically what this is, which is, quite obvious. It's a menu, but we're going to put that information there anyway. So for this section, what I'm going to do is make the type just a little bit smaller, and I'm going to type in my name. So this will be the Wilson Friendsgiving menu. So that's what this is for this coming Friendsgiving. And then I think just above this, a nice script font for the word menu will work out quite nicely. So let's duplicate this text again, Alt-Option key and drag, and type in menu, and then we'll take off the all caps and we'll go over here to the script section. I've already gone ahead and pre-selected one that I like a lot for this kind of handwritten style, and I'll just size this up to a size that I think fits best. So that looks pretty good. I don't even think the capital M was necessary. So then when you're ready to export your design, you can do so by going over here to export and download. Of course, we want to make sure that this is 300 DPI, especially if you're going to print it, which again, I will show you in just a second. And then we want to hit optimize quality so that the browser just takes a little bit more time to smoothen out the pixels. Then you can export this in whatever style you want. If you want to sell this as a template, you can copy the private project link and sell the template to Kittl. Now let's go over how to print these at home. So I've uploaded both of those images to one artboard, which is 8.5 by 11. So then what you can see here is with the grid, I've got the same height roughly on the top and the bottom so that I know how much space is going to be for my design that I cut out of this paper. So I've got both of these positioned here. Maybe you have, two different menus. I'm just showing you how you can create multiple and print them all together on one paper. I took off the background color, and then what I'm going to do is make sure all of my information is right, 8.5 by 11, and then I'm going to just double check, make sure I hit remove background, optimize quality, and for me, I'm going to download a PNG. Now, all printers are different. For some reason, mine needs to be a PNG so that I can make sure that it is borderless. So right here, we want to make sure print and color is turned on, and then right here where it says paper size, we want to hover over US letter and go to US letter borderless. This will make sure that it doesn't give you those really random print bleed lines that every printer does, and it's really difficult for you to figure out how to do. So once this is all figured out and ready to go, you can hit print. All right, I should note that you probably want to add some cut lines. I definitely forgot to do that before printing, and as you can see here, I'm not entirely sure, except for where the illustrations are cut off, where I should cut, but I have an X-Acto slicer here that does a pretty good job, and you can see here how easy it is to get menus yourself using Kittl and printing at home.